On Saturday last, took the car up to the north coast. It was a lovely sunny day. Unlike the weather we've been getting this week and the absolutely downpouring of rain over the past day or two. It was bright. It was a good day for August. And we were driving along from Bushmills towards Port Stewart Way. And on my left, as I was heading in that direction, I saw a field of sunflowers. With the sun catching them, you couldn't have missed the glory of the colours from the field. So I drove up slowly, and then I saw the gate was open and people would drive in. So it seemed to be open to the public. So I did a quick turn back again, went into the field, and somebody had it just for a fundraiser. You're able to walk through the pathway in the middle of the sunflowers, as you will see on screen. I took the photograph, and there you get an image of the final part of what it looked like, because they were coming to their end, shall we say. The leaves were getting to brown a little bit, but it was quite tremendous colour and image as you walked right round through the middle of this field of sunflowers. You could pick up a few. So, as you can see here, took just 2 or 3. They're beginning to, as I have mentioned, show they're wilting a wee bit with the leaf colour, but the heads are still not bad. And as you would look at that, it should remind us of the most famous painting of a vase with a few sunflowers just like that in it. Vincent van Gogh, The Sunflowers. I think they were painted towards the end of his life, or shall we say the maturity of his paintings, because he painted profusely, a post-impressionist painter. The sunflowers cost millions now. Like most painters, when they're living, the money isn't just the same, strangely, compared with when they die, if they become famous. I got a new perspective to that painting, The Sunflowers, when I went on YouTube to hear a song from many years ago by Don McLean. Those of you who were growing up in the 70s or at university in the 70s will probably remember some of his songs. I made reference, a month or 2 ago, to one of them. This was the famous one called Starry, Starry Night. And it comes from the painting by Van Gogh, The Starry Night. And the song is all to do with Vincent van Gogh, because he uses the word Vincent in it. But it took on a new meaning for me when I looked at the version on the YouTube, which brought paintings that Van Gogh had painted. The words came on screen of Don McLean's song and then the paintings. And it brought a new insight into Van Gogh. He was someone who suffered severely from depression. There was a sad ending to his life. And as Don McLean captures in his song, nobody really understood you, did they, Vincent? You were misunderstood. And sometimes that can happen with depression, with anxiety and all the pressures. Only the person themselves understands what they're going through. And therefore the image that's presented may not always suggest reality of the heart, the mind, or dare I say even the soul. The Bible doesn't avoid the subject, and you get different parts referring to depression, anxiety, or what has been termed spiritual depression, where the individual who's been walking in faith suddenly finds and experiences and feeling that God seems remote, almost abandoned by God. If you've gone through depression, I sometimes say to people, go and read Psalm 42 and then the linked Psalm 43 with it. And there the psalmist a long, long time ago said, "Oh, why are you disquieted, my soul? Why are you cast down? Or in our language, why are you depressed deeply? People say to me, the psalmist said, where's your God? And I sometimes wonder, have I an answer? Now, as you read through the psalm, he adds as time progresses, but I will still hope in God. Now, the Bible's not trying to be superficial. It's not saying one moment he was depressed and the next minute he had a spiritual answer, because often when you look at the Psalms or passages of the Bible, that which is contracted into a few verses or chapter, maybe in time stretched over a longer period. And here's someone whom others maybe didn't understand. Why is he like that? And yet he was going through that crisis. Was it anxiety, outside pressure, or as I say, spiritual depression? And sometimes they can be all interconnected. And after that journey, or holding on with the hope to the end, he said, but I still will hope again in God. If you think of other parts of the Bible, even the words of Jesus, we're told that when we trust in Jesus, when we trust in God, it's like putting our hand into his. And sometimes in life, pressures can hit us that we pull the hand away, we want to pull the hand away, but even though we find it difficult to hold on, God says, I will hold on to you when you feel I'm not there, when you feel all's dark, because I haven't let go. You came to me in faith. You came to trust me. And I will keep you even though you feel I may not be. So sometimes you get lessons through past people's experiences, and then you mirror them to experiences in the Bible which God has given to us. Read Psalm 42. By the way, when we went up on Saturday next Bushmills, early in the morning at the radio on, I listened to Radio Ulster on Saturday morning about 8 o'clock, your place, my place, and they were looking at different people in their places. And there was an interview between 8 and 9 with an elderly man who said, I have opened my field of sunflowers to the public for charity. I was listening, not knowing where it was going that day. He was, sadly, it seems, he was a man who lost his wife to cancer, and he said, we started with the grandchildren and we just planted a few seeds, and then it grew and grew until now I plough the field and sow the seeds, and there's a field of sunflowers, and we open it to the public, and if you want to give anything, you can give anything. The interviewer asked him a few things about sunflowers and said, do you stake them? Oh no, he said, you tend not to stake sunflowers because that inhibits the strength. They have to go on their own to get the strength. And then they asked about the sunflower, maybe just like now with a camera. It's been a dull day. It's been a frightfully wet day. But the sun's just coming out there. It's shining on them. And he said, with a sunflower, obviously with the name, the sun gets its light, or the flower gets its life as it keeps looking at the sun and the head moving towards the sun. And even the insects here are drawn to it because the sun gives it life. Sometimes in life you have to face things on your own. Of course, the sunflower's strength wasn't just on its own. It's because sunflowers grow together if you plant them, and there's a strength between people holding themselves, even when the sunflowers hold each other. But the light of the Son of God this time, gives us life as we look to him. And even though we don't realize it, he gives us life now, and he turns the light on again, even in the dark days. And of course, there's life eternal. because the light's never switched off. And that which we see now becomes more glorious if we hold on. It's amazing what you get when you look at a sunflower. And sometimes when you think of the painting by Van Gogh, it's amazing what's behind the face when all sometimes looks beautiful and we don't know what's there. Hold on to God because he hasn't let go of you when you trust him.